It's a sunny spring day. You look around, you smell the air, and what are your senses feeling? If you're thinking along the same lines as me, you're probably thinking of the sun shining, the breeze blowing, and the beautiful flowers blooming. But when the breeze is blowing, you can smell the flowers in the air, more specifically the pollen. I know many of you have received a big, beautiful bouquet of flowers or given one at some point in your life for someone you care for, but can you imagine a world where you wouldn't be able to do this? Today, I will persuade you to act and care about the honeybee crisis. I will be persuading you all today on the massive impact honeybees have on the importance of maintaining a healthy world. First, I will convince you the importance bees have on sustaining our agricultural well-being. Next, I will display the problems that will arise without honeybees. And finally, I will show the solution that can aid in solving this problem and urge you to help. There are many different things in nature that help with the agriculture, but honeybees are one of the biggest contributors. Honeybees are very important to agriculture because of their abilities and their dominance over other pollinators. In the sub-article, Importance of Bees in Nature, it states, bees and most flowering plants have developed a complex interdependence during millions of years. An estimated 80% of flowering plants are entomophilous, which means depending more or less on insect pollination to be able to reproduce, and it is estimated that half the pollinators of tropical plants are bees. This is important because it shows that bees are doing the majority of the work in the pollinating process. Also, this article says nectar is produced to attract bees. Pollen is also attracting the bees, but it has another function too. It is to produce to ensure the next generation of plants, further stating the importance bees have in the agricultural world because they are the ones keeping the plants alive. Also, honeybees are the most important pollinator. Author Paul Rhodes states, although many taxa, including moths, flies, beetles, hummingbirds, and bats function as pollinators, bees are the most effective in many cases. Rhodes also adds to this that bee larvae and adults both rely almost entirely on nectar for sustenance. This means that the distance moved between flowers and the number of visits is very much larger amount than any other pollinator, showing why bees in our ecosystem is much more efficient and important. He also adds that the wasp, which is the most similar organism to the honeybee, can only feed on nectar in adult form, while honeybees can always feed. Now that I've shown you why bees are so influential to our agriculture, there are many drawbacks without them. Although it seems that most of the other pollinators can do the trick without the bees, this is not true due to many problems that would arise without them. The ecosystem would have to be revised, killing off other species if the honeybee is not saved. Author Melissa Petrulizillo says, other plants may utilize a variety of pollinators, but many are more successfully pollinated by bees. Without bees, they would set fewer seeds and they would have lower reproductive success. This is something apparent for plants such as the bee orchid, which is exclusive to only bees, and if bees were wiped out, so would the bee orchid. Adding on, beyond many animals such as the beautiful bee eater, birds would lose their prey in the events of die-off, and this would also impact natural systems of the food webs. And this is shown here on this ecosystem food web where the bee is obviously in the middle and there are many spiders, flowers, and birds that are feeding off of it, which makes it hard to lose something so important in our ecosystem. So far, I have argued that bees' existence in agriculture is vital to the development of plants as we know them, and that there will be many problems in our ecosystem without them. Now, I will display the solution to saving these treasured insects. There are many helpful ways to save the bees. The decrease of pesticides use is a major way to stop killing the bees. Author Eleanor Andrews states, pests and pathogens quickly spread as migratory pollination operations, but honeybees from all over the country in contact with one another. These direct stressors are exacerbated by a decline in the acreage of honeybee forage in the US because of agricultural intensification and development. Furthermore, some pesticides pose a problem. Their effects are increasingly sublethal, meaning that they do not kill bees directly on contact, but there is increasingly evidence that they interact synergistically with one another. Today, I have persuaded you and shown you many reasons bees are an essential part of everyday life. First, I touch on the bees' importance in agriculture and why they're better than other pollinators. Secondly, I talked about what problems would arise without honeybees. And finally, I talked about the solution to saving the honeybees. Although bees may seem literally and figuratively small to everyday life, it is important that the population as a whole works together to fix this problem. Today, flowers are a simple gift to give anyone in your life, such as your mom, friend, neighbor, and this gift is only possible because of bees. Also, like I mentioned previously, there are many other animals that will become endangered after the collapse of these creatures, which we don't want to see. And nature is something we all see every day, whether it be outside or if you have plants in your house. And majority of this is possible due to bees. I encourage you to think deeper into this, and if after this you are interested in donating, you can at thebeeconservancy.org. Thank you.